Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Good evening, good morning, good noon, and good night. Welcome to DTM Real Talk, and we are keeping it real. And y'all know I'm the excited girl because every week I say I'm excited. So welcome. Say welcome to the good folks out there, Kyra.
Welcome, good people. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to tell y'all how we met. We're going to tell y'all the whole story. I'm so excited right now. Okay, calm down, Marion. But anyway, if this is your first time chiming in, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Something that is said, I can absolutely assure you that you will be encouraged, you will be enlightened, or you will get back on the right track if you're off. And we're just here to bring some joy in your life, add some value to where you need it, right? So I'm excited. I got to calm myself down. Kyra, you just got off a plane, right?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Awesome. Tell the good folks. Tell the good folks where you're from. She's a nurse, y'all.
I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Born and raised. Lived in New Orleans for 12 years. Lived in California for about 11, 12, between 11 and 13 years. I stopped counting. And now my family and I relocated to Houston, Texas.
Awesome.
So we've been there since 2020, mid-year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys need to know that I had not seen Kyra, and I probably had talked to her about 6 years ago, but I hadn't seen her in almost 30 years, right? And something happened. But before we get to what happened, let's do this. Kyra, let's talk about, tell the good folks, do you have siblings, mom, dad, siblings?
Yes, my mom is living. My dad passed away some years ago, but he wasn't in my life. So I do have a sister from my dad, and then my mom had twins. So I have a brother and sister from my mom, and a younger sister from my dad. I'm the oldest of all. Yeah.
Well, you could pause right there because I didn't know that. You
I
have
see.
7 twins in your family?
I do. My brother and sister twins, and my grandmother's a twin. So yes, and my brother has twins, so they run all through.
Oh, wow.
Surprise.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, good folks out there, everybody can learn you something, as my grandmother would say.
Yeah.
So where are the twins?
So my sister is here in Houston, and my brother is in Louisiana, where my mom is.
I did not know that.
And then my other sister just moved from Louisiana to Nevada, to the Las Vegas area. So I connected with her later in life because my dad did not introduce us. Uh, and it was of no fault of ours. I saw her before in the grocery store, and my mom had made sure I had a picture of her. So I knew I had a sister out there. And when my dad passed away, actually, she knew I was a nurse and she called every hospital. At that time, I was in the Baton Rouge for 2 years. I had moved home for 2 years. She called everywhere looking for her sister until she found me at work. I was working the night shift, and she called and called till she got through to me, and they patched me through, and we connected. And we promised ourselves at our dad's funeral, despite of our past or our upbringing or not being connected through him, that we connected with each other and we would never let each other go. I just talked to her yesterday morning. We talk to each other, we pray with each other all the time, and have like spirits.
Oh wow, this is exciting. That
Yes,
brings me to a super question that I know that the good folks need to know, they need to hear. So obviously your dad wasn't in your life, you said
yes.
that, and he's passed away now, and you didn't know your sister did. Was he the reason why you guys had not connected?
Yeah, but so my dad suffered with an alcohol addiction.
Okay.
So when he was with my mom, he had come back from Vietnam and he was drinking heavily. He had the PTSD, loud noises, the drinking, and it was really bad. And so my mom told him, gave him a choice. His dad was trying to get them to get married, and she gave him a choice,
Mhm.
basically to choose us or the alcohol. Like he had to make a decision because she had to decide how she was going to raise me.
Right.
And so of course, that addiction was a struggle. And so they split up. He later married my sister's mom some years later.
Gotcha.
And I always knew he existed, and I knew I had a grandmother, but that side of the family just did not ever connect with me. I just have vague memories of a cousin who would always come over every year to my grandmother's house and visit me, and then he stopped. So I found out later it was because he was in jail. But to me, it's that side of the family just didn't reach out. I didn't hear from them,
Right.
and so I started telling people I was a test tube baby,
Right.
because that's how you disconnect from whatever side that's broken when you're
Right.
young, you don't know any better. And my grandmother was not having that. So when I was about 13, 14 years old, she told me, let's go for a ride. And she put me in the car and she drove me to my grandmother's house and introduced me to my grandmother. She gave me a picture of my dad. He wasn't there at the time. And so that set a foundation. When I was 16, I still hadn't heard from him, but I went out because I was learning more about the world. I had given my life to the Lord at 13.
Mhm.
And I'm no stranger to harsh times, circumstances, trials, or tribulations. And I had gone through those at 13. At 13, I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Wow.
And I was losing weight. I had just it was a lot at once. And my mom and my grandmother prayed me. They prayed for me when I
Wow.
didn't know what prayer was.
Wow.
And my mom was in the church. I believe God had saved her some years before because she was going to need to come back
Right.
and be strong and have the strength of the Lord for her daughter. So at 13 is when that happened. That's when I gave my life to the Lord, me and my aunt together in the upper room at Bethany World Prayer Center. So moving on at 16, I was learning more about God and forgiveness and all of that. And family was
So
always
let me pause you right there. That was my
Mhm.
next question, and I know you're going to
Yeah,
go into it, but I want to go a
yeah.
little deeper with it. So, can you really identify, or are you able to identify for the good folks at one point that you experienced the unforgiveness? Because obviously it had to be some.
Well, you know, as a kid, I didn't process it as unforgiveness.
Right.
Um,
Would you
I
would you say
I
you
just
processed
process
it?
it as I'm a test tube baby. I'm not going to
Ah,
deal with that. I
gotcha.
process it as rejection, and
Rejection.
I
Okay.
was rejected, so I'm going to reject.
Gotcha.
Now
Okay.
that I understand better, they didn't want me. I don't know why. I don't hear from them. They're not in my life, so I'm not gonna own it. I'm gonna say I just have a mom and a grandmother in this family, and I was a test tube baby. My grandmother was
Yes.
upset.
Yes.
So
And at
yeah,
13, that's exactly what you did. That was your
yeah, and
form
that's
of
what I did. So
forgiveness.
I just disconnected from that.
Okay.
I focused on school and I focused on the things that I could do, and I just put that over there. My dad and that family's over there because I don't even know them, right?
Right.
And so, and as I said, I had a cousin who used to connect, and I didn't know what happened. And I just had some small, just some faint memories, like when I was must have been 3 to 5 of two aunts and those cousins, the one that visited me and he had a brother, and just some just some little small memories of that. And so at 16, I made a decision that I was going to go and reach out to my dad, understanding addiction, alcoholism, asking questions. Well, why do people drink? Why do people smoke?
Yes.
Why do people do drugs? That was always in my mind,
Yes.
and just trying to understand the dynamics of that and health, the anti-smoke. Why would you do that if you're pregnant and and you're smoking and that's a danger to your baby? And why would you drink if you know that's harmful? So I went out to see my dad, and he walked me around the neighborhood and he introduced me to all his friends. And it was clear that he was at that day he was like he was so proud of me, and he was just showing me to everybody. And we went to the neighbor's house, and he said, "I'll be right back." And my grandmother stayed right next door to the neighbor. So I was waiting for him. And I looked out the window and I asked the neighbor, well, I didn't think he'd be gone this long. When I looked out the window, I saw him walking across the yard and he had a paper bag
Uh-huh.
in his hand.
Okay.
So I looked and I said, oh, that's a drink. And so I don't remember how I got outside the neighbor's house, but I do remember I had driven over in a used car that my mom has bought as a
Uh-huh.
single mom for me, my very first car. And I remember him said something negative about the car. And I set him straight. Like,
You were 16.
I was
Yeah.
16.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started driving. I had this used car because I was the oldest. I used to help out,
Sure.
with my
Sure.
brother and sister. And he made a negative comment, and I set him straight because, my mom was trying, and he hadn't done anything for me.
Right.
So how dare you?
Right.
And then he left me. In my mind, he left me. He chose alcohol over me again
So
because
this
he
was
left me
actually
from
in
the
your
bottom.
mind. This
That's
was
in
number
my mind.
two. You
That
you
was number two.
That was number two. You rejected
So
me at 13, and that's how I expressed it. I'm a test two baby. Now I'm
yes.
older, so I understand. Now you reject me, and I really feel it.
I really feel it. And so I left. And the only thing I could ever remember that he gave me was a Mickey Mouse watch. And I told him that, my mom has done the best. How dare you critique, the
Sure.
car. And I left and I didn't come back. And so when I graduated high school, I came down the stairs and I remember seeing him. I hadn't invited him. And I just remember being shocked. And I said, "You're here."
Hmm.
And he stood there with tears and he said, "I wouldn't have missed it for the world." I begged them to let me in because I didn't invite him. I didn't give him an invitation or
Right.
anything. And that's the one time that I remember my whole life that he showed up for me. That
Wow.
that
Wow.
was it. And so that has pushed me in life
Mm-hmm.
to learn more about past trauma. And I told my mom, when my mom was telling me, when you fast forward later after I graduated high school, went to college,
Mm-hmm.
I was going through some things. I got accepted into medical school. And God was speaking to me in ways that I had never heard before. And I was trying to sort through it because
Mm-hmm.
I know the dream that God had given me in my heart was towards medicine and health. And
Yes. Yes.
and medical school was hard. And it was a lot. And the school I chose was a lot. And God had put people in my life to pray for me. And I would go to their house to study because it was just peaceful. And
Uh-huh.
he was talking to me about trusting in him and lean not to the left or the right. And I'm trying to sort all these things out. And my mom would tell me, talk to God, sit in his lap, like you
Wow.
would talk to your dad.
Wow.
Well, I said, I was struggling. And I called her back and I said, Mom, I don't know what that's like
Wow.
because I don't know how daughters talk to their dad. So, how do I talk to my father in heaven as my father in the spiritual realm? And I didn't have that relationship with my father on earth.
Wow.
So I was, I really just, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So that was affecting my spiritual walk,
Yeah.
you know.
Let me pause you again, Kyra.
Yeah,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
yes.
You're saying something, and the good folks need to understand. And I want to direct this to the men out there with daughters, with sons. Listen to what she's saying. The first example of a father that your child is going to get is through you. So if you don't provide that example of what a father looks like for your child to talk to you, then they don't know. They're going to reach out because God has put that in us. God has put that in us, the desire to want to be loved, to want to be accepted, to want to cling to our fathers. I'm feeling that. You feeling that, Kyra? So
Amen.
y'all, listen, this is crazy good.
It is
So
so
go
important.
on. We got a few more minutes, but I
It's
want the good
so
folks to hear
important.
this.
So I've learned later in my spiritual walk that that's called a father wound. And
Mm,
there's so
say
many
it again.
people
Say it
out here,
again.
a
The
father wound.
father wound. Go ahead.
So there's so many people out here that are not healed. They're broken and they're wounded because of rejection from either a father wound or a mother wound.
Yes, yes,
They affect you differently, right? The father is supposed to be the protector, the provider. The
yes,
mother is the nurturer, the encourager, right?
yes,
So what I found is people who have father wounds, right? They're understanding and trusting the father to provide your needs and to come through and to protect you, and to provide what you need in life, to answer prayers is, and to just trust is the issue. Whereas when you have the wound, you struggle more with your identity, even more
yes.
so. Both of them impact your identity, but
Both of
different
them were
ways.
traumatizing.
Traumatizing.
Yes, yes,
So I walked through that, and I walked through seasons that my mom couldn't help me with, because only God could.
yes,
So I walked through seasons where I had to trust in him and I had to work and build that relationship and let him lead me in life through things that, in places and situations that no one else could
yes,
and that I couldn't do in my own strength. So that's how I walked my relationship out with God, through a father wound. But I had to acknowledge that I had it, acknowledge that it was real.
yes,
And one of the best things my mom did for me to give me a strong footing in life is when I was 13, and realizing how deep those father wounds were, to help me even go to see him when I was 16.
yes,
It was not only to take me to church, not only to receive salvation, but something we do not talk about enough in our community is a therapist.
yes. Well, the
So,
Bible clearly says, in the multitude of counselors, and I'll replace it with the word therapist, in the multitude of therapists, there is safety. The
yes,
multitude of counselors,
yes,
there is
yes,
safety. Yes, yes.
yes.
Look, good folks, I know y'all want to hear the rest of her story because I do too, but this is so good. So therapy is not a bad word. Let's just say it together.
No.
It's not a bad word.
Jesus and therapy.
Jesus is number one, but he provides the therapy. He'll connect you with folks that he has equipped to help you. Y'all, come back next week because you got to hear the rest of this. This is DTM Real Talk and Kyra. We're just doing what? Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
We keep it real. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.